Hello, hello, good and welcome, or it's nighttime still, not dawn, can't do dawn buses. Welcome to this taste challenge. I have two 40% alcohol, single malt Scotch whiskies. This is, I don't know what happened to the cap cover, I couldn't find it. This is one of your most famous single malt Scotch whiskies, the Glenlivet single malt Scotch whiskey, age 12 years of age. Established by George and J.G. Smith, 1824, in Scotland. This is a Speyside single malt. Walmart had these older bottles, and they had a few left, so I bought the older one. I wanted to get the old design. And it's got this crest here on the front. This runs about $50 or more. Trying to see. It's a 2018 bottle. Distilled, matured, and bottled in Scotland at the Glenlivet Distillery. Glenlivet, not Levitt. Glenlivet Distillery, Banffshire, Scotland. All right. And the competitor is Trader Joe's Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, double maturation, because it's aged in regular oak barrels of some unspecified type, and then finished in ex-bourbon casks. Don't know whose bourbon. Don't know who makes it. It's procured by Hamish Robertson for Trader Joe's. Hamish Robertson is independent bottler. They don't make any whiskey. Nice foil cap cover. They don't make whiskey. They just get it done for people, clients. In this case, Trader Joe's grocery store chain. Now, most viewers tell me that their Trader Joe's does not sell liquor. And some viewers tell me that their Trader Joe's don't sell any sort of alcohol, no beer, no wine, or liquor. So I don't know what to say about that. Sorry. Trader Joe's was established in 1967, I think, in San Francisco. And it was bought out by Aldi in 1979. So it's owned by Aldi for the last 46 years. Okay. But there are enough Trader Joe's stores that sell liquor, and don't know what states. California, I guess, Louisiana, definitely not Florida, definitely not Mississippi, where they don't even sell beer at the Trader Joe's. Real cork, plastic cap cover, but real cork. But there are enough Trader Joe's that sell liquor that it makes it worth their time and effort to sell their own brands, their own private label of sourced whiskey. They have Trader Joe's bourbon. They have a Trader Joe's, and like I said, we don't know who makes the stuff. We got Trader Joe's bourbon, Trader Joe's Tennessee whiskey, which is a type of bourbon made in Tennessee. There's Trader Joe's blended Scotch whiskey, 8-year single malt, 10-year single malt, this Highland bourbon cask finish. There's a rum cask, and there's a sherry cask. There's Trader Joe's special Irish whiskey. So that's a bunch right there, just there on whiskey, and I'm probably missing some. So there's a lot of Trader Joe's whiskeys, but the question is, can you find it? Now, the Glenlivet is dark copper. Do they have coloring added? They don't claim to not have coloring added. Now, this one's gold. Does it have coloring added? Doesn't claim not to. I'll show you the Glenlivet website. Glenlivet is part of Chivas Brothers. You've heard of Chivas Regal? Now, Chivas Regal's blended Scotch, so that might use some Glenlivet in it. There's a Glen. Is like a little valley. All right, the Glenlivet, right? They give tasting notes and aroma, but I never, I don't ever pick up banana, toffee, apricot, pineapple, creamy, sweet, vanilla, and soft, warming, nutmeg, spice. I never pick up all that stuff. I don't know what they talk about, but they're experts, and I'm not. This whiskey gets an average rating, according to this company, you can rate it on their own website, of 4.4. And people are rating it a B+. Not the greatest, but good. They won a gold medal at the International Spirits Challenge 2024, obviously, and 3 years before that, obviously, for single malt Speyside whiskey. And look at all the ones they make. Founders Reserve, which I have, rum cask. Yes, cocktail ideas. The magic of Speyside. And there's their center. Looks like a boutique hotel. They have tours there. The Glenlivet 12-year-old is a single malt Scotch with smooth and fruity taste. This classic Scotch is matured in traditional oak casks, followed by masks to give it delicious notes of vanilla and velvety finish. It's a whiskey from a single distillery, the Glenlivet Distillery in Speyside, that lends itself to every occasion. And there's more questions about that, which we're not going to go into. And then you can look. I don't know what that's about. Didn't go back. Their collection, you see here, Caribbean Reserve, the Founders Reserve, which I'm to do tomorrow. This is the new bottle of the Glenlivet, like that kind of mint green. Mine is the olive green. Captain's Reserves, 15-year-old, 18-year-old, fusion cask, obviously 2 casks, 21-year-old, 25-year-old, 40-year-old, 55-year-old, Distiller's Reserve, White Oak Reserve, Winchester Collection, 1867, Rare Spectra. So these obviously are very expensive. They're not going to be $45 or whatever. I think I paid 40. I think I paid like 47. Oh, this is years ago. And it was like 42 for Founders Reserve. But I hate to see the price. You can look. It'll be shocking. It's expensive now. I'll try to start mixing these up. Let's see. Okay, the Glenlivet. Amazingly, the Founders Reserve, which is no age stated, is more expensive than the regular Glenlivet. Seemed like it'd be less because it's a younger product. 56.67 and 54.48. Walmart always has those strange, because like it's never like 56.99. It's like 56.67, 54.48. It's down to the pennies. Glenmorangie, now there's a value. Glenmorangie 10-year age, single $49.98, much cheaper than the Glenlivet. Let's see how Trader Joe's compare. Not Trader Joe's. Total Wine and More, 54 and 56. Okay. They don't open for 3 hours and 5 minutes, but I'm not going there today anyway. Okay. Live it. Much cheaper. $46.99, and Walmart's got it 54. So you definitely want to go to, in this case, wait till you pass by Total Wine and more, where you might live down the street, and go there because you're going to save big time money compared to Walmart. That's not always the case, but now the Glenlivet Reserve, you can get the handle, the big bottle, for $92.99. And now it's cheaper per ounce. And it's good stuff. I'm telling you, it's good. So you're saving a lot of money per ounce. Assuming you're going to drink it all, and we would assume that's correct. 14-year-old, see what I mean? The price is $70.99. Now, $47.79 for the regular bottle. You don't want a big bottle? Fine. Get that one, but you're still gonna lose money, you know, theoretically. All right, the 18-year-old, $175 nearly. 86 for 47. So yeah, $319 for the 21 year. So yeah, it goes up, up, up. And they don't even carry 25-year aged. 25-year aged is $819.99. How you like that? $819. Woo, baby. $819. I don't think I want to drink whiskey that bad. $200, I don't want to drink it. $100, I don't really want to drink it. Okay. I know some of these stores got cognac, like Louis the 13th cognac, for $3,995. They have a store in Metairie, Louisiana, has a whiskey for $10,000, $10,999 in a case, you know. True story. It's a 1974 bottling. I don't think Trader Joe's stands a chance today, honestly. I'm telling you that before I do the channel. I don't think it's going to win. I don't even think it's going to compete. This smells kind of like just general whiskey with a little oak. They're both finished in American oak. But the Glenlivet just says American oak. It doesn't say bourbon specifically. So we don't know if it's charred oak, a new barrel, a used barrel. All it says, finished in American oak. That could mean many different things. Now, if you send them an email, they might give you the specifics, but more than likely they would just not. They would just say, we don't want to go too detailed into it, but it's a high, naturally they're going to tell you it's a super high quality American cask, and that's all they're going to tell you. I would think. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they'll tell you everything. But I wouldn't look for that. More oak here. So that might be the bourbon thing going on. But this does smell kind of corn. Neither one of these contain any corn or any wheat or any rye. They're 100% malted barley, all right? Single malt. Taste time. Corn nuts. I keep saying this because that's what it keeps tasting like, corn nuts. You buy the Mylar bag, open it. I think it's like foil lined. We got Cool Ranch, barbecue flavor, chili powder flavor, maybe hot and spicy. It's corn kernels that they roast. They're not popped corn. I don't know who makes corn nuts. It's probably some big company like Conagra. I don't know. Could be Frito-Lay. You know, this kind of finishes a little corn also. Maize if you live in Scotland or Spain or Andorra. I don't know. I think they're both finished in bourbon barrels. They're just saying American oak, but I'm thinking bourbon because it gives it that corn flavor. Bourbon is a type of corn whiskey or maize whiskey, like I said. Well, it's closer than I thought. Every time I say it's going to be a blowout, then it's close. Oh, the price, $17.99, $47.99, or thereabouts. So is it a $30 difference? Absolutely no way. There's no way that's $40 difference here. I mean $30 difference. I'm sorry, $30. No way. Now, is that a good value? $17.99 for a single malt Scotch? I think so. I don't think you'd find too many lower than that. But we did. we stumbled across the most amazing deal in the world. But that's for another day. That was like, I couldn't get over it. My friend Dave was like, I'll buy you a bunch of bottles. Of course, meaning I have to pay him back. I said, nah, one is enough. But when I show you the bottle and I tell you the price, you're gonna say you're lying now. Now the channel's gone over the edge. You're just making up story. But I'm not making up the story. He bought like 10 bottles because he was just giving them to people for Christmas because it was right before Christmas and he was just giving them as presents. He said, I don't have to tell them what I paid. They're going to look it up and be like $62. Man, he bought me a good Scotch. And I'm like, yep. I would do the same thing, you know. But most of the people I give gifts to, they don't drink. So only my daughter, she always appreciates that. But everybody else now, they all on the wagon. So, all right. So that's the situation there. This one here, yeah, it's pretty good. It's very corn though, even though it's all barley. It's just that barrel finish affected it. I don't mean in a negative way. It's made to finish like that. How can I criticize? You know, how could I criticize it and talk about, well, it's got a bourbon flavor type thing going on with it? Well, yeah, it was made to do. It's what I aged in bourbon barrels. Things make sense, right? Right. Now that would turn off some people. I'm not like in love with it. I'm not really in love with bourbon. I eat enough corn grits in my life that, and corn chips that I'm like, man, I don't want to drink it, you know? And that sounds like an atrocity or a sacrilege to some of you, or heresy. You say, what? You're not really into bourbon? You're stupid. You big dummy. You're so dumb. Well, I might be. But then I think that's not how you gauge intelligence based on personal preference of alcohol, specifically in this case, classes of whiskey, or I'm sorry, types of whiskey. The class is whiskey. There are different types: Scotch, Irish, bourbon, straight bourbon, bottled and bond bourbon, and so forth. Of course, there's two classes of Scotch: single malt and blended. And then there's subclasses: Highland, Lowland, Islay, and so forth. This is smoother. This is more demure. This has more savoir-faire. This one has more character. This one has more betterness. Now, I still don't think $30, though. I wouldn't pay $30 to get these attributes, I would not do it. Never. I could get 2 of these bottles for 1 of these. And I would get the 2 over 1, even though what I'm getting is inferior. But yet there is a value characteristic that goes into play here. I don't think the Glenlivet 12 year is that great that you got to be running it down and say, I got to have it. I just got to have it. Now, maybe that 25-year-old for $800, I'm sure that would be one to have. That'd be one to check out. You'd want to track it down, especially if somebody else is paying for it, right? Catch what I'm saying? All right. Anyway. No, I mean, I don't know though. It has a little bitiness to it. I'm not gonna. I can't escape that. It's a little choppiness at the end, and it's a corn choppiness. This thing is like chop, chop, chop. You know, it's like chop the tree, row the boat. Look at me. So I don't know, but I've been told in the heat of the day a man died of cold, but I'll give you everything I've got for a little piece of mind. But yeah, that's the way that is. I think I know it's not supposition, it's a fact. This is not theory, this is fact. The fact is I was wrong, and I'll be the first to admit it. I said that the Trader Joe's would never compete, and it would be a blowout, and it wouldn't even be much of a contest, but it has been. So, which is the reason I do the blind taste test. The whole point of the blind taste test is to see if you really know, because you think you know, but you don't know, but you might know if you do the blind taste test. But it'll open up a lot of different things to you, because we can have a brand idea, a brand line of thinking, like you say, Glenlivet against a store brand, a private label Trader Joe's. That is going to be a joke. This was me thinking this too, but the blind taste test has shown otherwise. Really, I need to drink more to know, but I'm not going to, because what's the point? If you can't tell very easily, then you can't tell. It's like watching these baseball games and they say, oh, they're going to review it. And they go in there and they go look at the camera and they're looking at 50 different angles. Maybe he was safe. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was safe. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he was safe. Maybe he wasn't. And they go back and forth. I'm like, well, if you got to go through all of that, then sounds to me like you better go with the call that was made on the field, because the whole point of the video review is clear and incontrovertible evidence, clear and indisputable evidence, right? If you got to look at it 50 times, that's not clear and it's not indisputable. It's a joke. It should be you look at it and immediately you know, oh, he's out. It's immediate. Or in football, he's out of bounds. Not I got to look at 50 different angles, 27 different times on each angle. That's not clear and that's not indisputable. So the NFL and Major League Baseball does not even use their own technology correctly. They'd be questioning it, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Could be, maybe, perhaps. It's like, that's not how you're supposed to do a game. And it's a game. All right. I'm saying this is the Trader Joe's with no kind of confidence. But I got it right. But I was scared like a person who was scared. And I'm unanimous in that. Okay. So, woof, that was a close run thing, boy. All right. Harvey Brown says, thanks, Ronald. I had a glorious weather week in Fife last week and had a super Iran single malt, partly aged in bourbon barrels. Superb. Really? Thanks for watching, Harvey Brown. Well, I'd like to try it, but, you know, I'm here, you're there. Wu-Tang Clan Davis says, I'm sorry to hear that. medical procedures can be very painful. And sometimes they don't work. I know somebody's going to have back surgery in 2 days. But then, like, they'll tell you, like, back surgery, like, doesn't usually work. Works for the doctor. But so he had back surgery years ago. Didn't help. Still in pain. So he's going to do it again. Let's get together and do it again. But I feel sorry for him, you know, I feel bad, but he's going to go for it, you know. I don't know, man. Well, that brings us to the end. And in the end, all right. So the winner, but in a way, think about it, in a way, it's not really a winner, it's a loser. Like Queen said, the loser in the end, because this was supposed to triumph. It was supposed to be a great, spectacular victory. But yet, I could barely tell them apart. That's a Pyrrhic victory. That's no kind of victory. I'm paying $47 for this, and I'm paying $17.99 for that, and I can barely tell them apart. Somebody needs to check on that. You say, yeah, but you don't know. The Trader Joe's could be coming from the Glenlivet. No, it can't be, because that's a Highland Scotch. This is from Speyside. But obviously it's coming from one of the big Highland distilleries, one of the big ones, not a craft distillery, a big one who's got excess capacity, and they'll put out extra stuff for whoever wants to pay the money. Just like Anheuser-Busch. They don't make only Anheuser-Busch beers. They make other people's stuff. Because maybe like, say, like Saturday and Sunday, they've already brewed all the beer they could sell. So they're like, okay, contract, we're going to make this. But it's called blank and it's made for a blank, you know. But when people buy it, they don't know it's made by us, because then they would, because some people got some axe to grind with Anheuser-Busch for various reasons. And they would say, oh, I ain't buying that. But if they try it and they were like, oh, this is from Hometown Brewery in Pennsylvania, Hometown Brewery. Oh, it's so good. This is a beer for a man. I'm a man. I'm 40. You know, so it's like, yeah, but you ever noticed, you ever looked at the can carefully? You ever wonder why it said Hometown Brewery of Pennsylvania and then it says St. Louis, Missouri? Like, St. Louis, Missouri is not Pennsylvania. Okay, who has better bourbon selection there, Trader Joe's or Aldi? Well, Aldi does not sell liquor in the United States, so obviously Trader Joe's by default, because there is no liquor sold at Aldi in the United States yet, and maybe never, but at this time, not at all. So yeah, you can't. Now in Europe, you go to Europe, yeah, Aldi sells liquor. And I never saw an Aldi in Europe, but I went to Lidl. What do you call it? Lidl? That's sort of a competitor to Aldi. I went to that store, but it was in Africa. You say Africa. Yes, it was in North Africa. In Spanish, North Africa, because Spain has 2 territories in Africa still today. You say, in other words, colonies. Well, if you want to call them colonies, I guess that would be correct, because most of the people are Spanish and they moved there from Spain. Well, you know, their ancestors, but anyhow, I went to Lidl and they had a huge liquor section and I did not buy any. In fact, when I was in Africa, I did not buy any liquor at all. Could have, and it was cheap. I'm not kidding. It was cheap. Like, it was like really cheap. And most of the brands I never heard of. Well, of course they had Johnny Walker, stuff like that. They even had Jack Daniels, you know. But a lot of it was like off the wall brands I never heard of. It might have been common there. Like everybody over there might have been, who never heard of Kaplik whiskey? Everybody heard of Kaplik whiskey. I never heard of it. But I bought a lot of beer. Now I made up for it. Because I was buying beer out the ears. You know, I was buying beer here, there, everywhere. And I didn't just go to one store. I didn't just go to Lidl in Africa. I even know what street it was on. I could tell you, but I'd have to look it up. But I remember where it was. It was right across from where the ship lands to drop you off there. That store was big. It was big. It's a big store. And they had all kind of beer, you know, common stuff like Heineken, like everybody heard of Heineken, but like obscure brands. I never heard of it. But so then I said, well, I got to go to this shopping mall because they had a shopping mall in the middle of the city. So I went to the shopping mall. Well, in the outskirts of the city, I guess, not the downtown, the newer part of the city. And they had a grocery store in the shopping mall. So it was full of beer, wine, and liquor. And I went berserk. You know, I went crazy. I went like a crazy person, you know, buying all kind of beer. And it was so low. A liter bottle for 99 cents. You heard me. A liter bottle for 99 cents. What, you thought I wasn't going to buy it? So and then I went to Spain in Europe, you know, the main part of Spain. The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain. And I went there and I was buying more beer. I was buying beer left to right, sideways, diagonal, front to back. And I bought, and it was, I couldn't get over it. It was like 78 cents, 90 cents. I think the most expensive beer I bought was like $1.20. And I was just buying it, and I went to Gibraltar, British, United Kingdom controlled Gibraltar, British territory, one of their oldest territory. And I bought that San Miguel liter bottle. What was the price? 5.4. And I drank that all morning. I think that thing was it was like $1.89, you know. It's like, or $1.54. I think it was $1.54, $1.56. I'm talking about euros, you know, €1.56. But you know, the same, like in American money at the time, it had been like $1.75. You know, it still was low. So I bought it. It was so good. You know, I'm a man. I'm 40. Gundy, says Tom. Yeah. It's funny how some breweries can brew total swill. Good point. But then contract brew really good offerings for others. Right. It's all about how they want to do it. You know, these companies come to them and say, I want this stuff, and it's got to be expensive in these parameters. Well, a company like Anheuser-Busch, they could do anything, you know. So they say, oh, that barrel age, 11 months and 16 days and 12 minutes and 13% alcohol. Oh, yeah, we could do that. It's going to cost you. It's going to be expensive. We'll do that. You know, it'd be perfect, you know. But then the regular stuff, you know. If Budweiser makes contract beer for another company, do they use cheaper recipes? Surely not the same as Bud. Well, now it depends on what the beer is. No, it's all, no. It's all according to the contract. It can be as cheap, I should put my hand down, cheap or as high or as mid-range as they want. It's all about how they want it. It had nothing to do with the quality. No, just whatever the contract specifies. Now, they're going to charge a lot because that's Anheuser-Busch, right? So they're the king of beers. So you could go to a cheaper company like City Brewing, but then then you'll find out why it was cheaper, you know. I mean, I'm just saying it's just the truth. I'm not saying it to be ugly, but why you thought it was cheaper, because it was better. Okay, anyway, enough talk. The winner, technically, the technical winner is the Glenlivet, but in reality, all things considered, I'm going to give the win to the Trader Joe's because it's $30 cheaper. I never would have dreamed such a thing could happen, but it did. So there you go. Now, what's going to happen with Founders Reserve for tomorrow? Founders Reserve. Now, at this point, I don't know. I think anything could happen. There's any possibility at this point. So every time I think I've gotten a handle on these whiskeys, I get more shocked. And I'm totally shocked right now. Thank you for watching, everybody. Bye-bye.